busy seasons in our lives can be some of the best and some of the worst times all at once. I have not been home for the past few days and my cat will not leave me alone, so this is what we're going with today. Especially around the holidays, we are pulled in 100 different directions at once. We have more on our plate, more planning, more shopping, more cooking, more traveling, more family to deal with. There is a lot going on. So I wanted to take time to create a video just for you. On this channel, we talk a lot about the importance of self-care and taking time for yourself, and how in taking time for yourself, although it may initially seem selfish, you are actually taking better care of yourself, which then enables you to take better care of others and to be a better version of yourself for others. So this video is just for you and your self-care today. I hope that it speaks encouragement and love and light and peace into your life today. So I created this video specifically around the holiday season. We are in December, so we just got over Thanksgiving. We're heading into Christmas and the New Year. But if you are watching this video later, you don't need to turn it off and think that it's not important to you. If you're watching this video in a busy season or coming out of a busy season, or you might be going into a busy season, you can still listen to this video, take it in, and apply these ideas to your everyday life so you can help prepare for a busy season or help recover from a busy season. Say busy season one more time. So today I want to talk about the importance of speaking to ourselves with love. In Brendon Burchard's book, High Performance Habits, he has this quote and it goes something like, the most important words we say are the words we speak to ourselves, about ourselves, when we are alone with ourselves. So I ask you, how do you speak to yourself? Take some time, whether that's right now or tonight or later today, to reflect on how you speak to yourself. Is it with love and grace, or is it with judgment and hatred? Not judging yourself for how you speak to yourself, but just reflecting. We are the most hard on ourselves. There are so many things that I say to myself that I know for a fact I would never say to my friend or a loved one or even someone walking down the street. So why do I say it to myself? Why do I say it to myself who I should be loving the most? Sometimes I think that we have this mentality towards ourselves that of this like tough love mentality. Like we know that we could be doing better in certain aspects of our lives, whether that is food, exercise, self-talk, goals, achieving goals, work performance, relationship performance. We know that we could do better. So we say these things with this tough love approach, thinking that because we can do better if we give ourselves that tough love, that we will achieve the goal that we want to. However, research shows and the science behind how our brain works shows that this has the opposite effect that what I think that we want it to have. So it's this really funny cycle because we speak to ourselves with judgment and hatred a lot of times, if we're frank and honest, with the end goal, I believe, that we want to do better than what we're doing. And so we kind of give ourselves this tough love approach. However, when we tell ourselves something like, you are such a failure, you always make poor food choices, you always overeat, you never get to the gym like you say you're going to, you're a hypocrite. I mean, all of these terrible things that we say to ourselves. What's happening is the brain takes that in, processes it as truth and as fact. And so when we go and try to achieve this goal, let's just use the example of making it to the gym, right? So we didn't make it to the gym one time, and so we tell ourselves, you're a failure, you never do what you say you're gonna do, you're never gonna achieve that weight loss goal or that fitness goal, whatever it is. When we fail that one time, which I don't even like the word failure because we didn't fail, but when we don't do what we say we were gonna do that one time, and then we tell ourselves, we tell our brain that we are a failure, that we don't do what we say we're gonna do, our brain just processes that as a fact, as a truth. And so when we try to go to the gym the next day or the next week, whenever we have time, our brain is like, wait a minute, you're a failure. You never do what you say you're gonna do. And it processes that and remembers that information. And that fact sets us back before we even have the ability to try to go to the gym again. Does that make sense? It's these habits and patterns and really we're firing neurons and creating neural pathways in our brain that's telling ourselves and then strengthening these ideas and facts to our brains that are negative. And quite frankly, they're a lie. You're not a failure if you didn't make it to the gym, or if you stopped at Wendy's on your way home for dinner instead of coming home and having a nice, healthy meal. You're not a failure. You're not a bad person. You wouldn't tell your friend that, right? You wouldn't tell your mom that or your boyfriend that. So although we might have the approach, and maybe that's a learned approach, maybe our parents handled situations in this way, or maybe it's just a habit that we've created for years and years in our mind, we can start today by reversing that habit of hatred and judgment and speaking to ourselves in that negative way, to reversing it to speaking to ourselves with love and grace. Because here's how it works in our brain, right? Like, the science behind this idea is so interesting to me, that when we are able to approach ourselves with with constructive criticism and self-love in situations versus hatred and judgment and being very self-critical, we can achieve our goals quicker and in a healthier manner. So if we are able to make very small mindset and self-talk shifts from, let's use that example of, I didn't make it to the gym yesterday. Okay, maybe I slept through my alarm, maybe I forgot to set my alarm, maybe I hit the snooze button a few times. Instead of waking up before you even get out of bed and hitting ourselves with, you're such a failure, you never do what you say you're going to do, you're never going to achieve your goals, all of this like hatred that we speak on ourselves, switch that to, you really needed rest today, didn't you? Which is something that we might actually tell our friends or a loved one. And honestly, it's something that could be very true. If you slept through your alarm or you forgot to set your alarm, maybe your body just needed a little bit more rest. And in that, you are being more productive than working out, because if you would have gotten your body up and dragged yourself out of bed, dragged yourself out of bed, it wouldn't have been a productive workout. So how can we make these really small mindset shifts, or really small even changes in the sentences that we say to ourselves? First of all, approach yourself with grace. Allow yourself, give yourself the permission to approach yourself with the grace that you extend to other people. In this holiday season, especially where we have so much more on our plates all the time, whatever it may be, whether that's just more work responsibilities, less time to spend focusing on our relationships. So maybe our relationships are having a little bit of an issue, or making food decisions and cooking and traveling and making plans to visit with family or friends. Like, we are stretched so many different ways, especially in holiday seasons or just in busy seasons in general. So the first step in switching this mindset process is just becoming more aware of our self-talk. Because oftentimes we're not even aware of how negative we are to ourselves. And you know, an interesting fact, I think I've shared this before, but 80% of our thoughts are repetitive thoughts. They're the same thoughts that we've had yesterday and the day before and the day before that. Well, guys, it's a day. My ring light just went out, but we're gonna keep going because I feel like I'm on a roll and I wanna get it all out, okay? Stick with me, bad lighting and all. So the first step is becoming more aware of our thoughts, because oftentimes we're not even aware of how negative we are. And if 80% of what we're saying is a repetitive thought from yesterday, and probably close to 80% of those thoughts that we are telling ourselves over and over again are negative. I mean, that's crazy, right? Like, does anyone else think that that's so sad? And something that we can definitely work on. And the second step would definitely be to start shifting, making small changes when you are aware that you have a negative thought. So the first step is becoming aware. And when you become aware of a negative self-thought that you are telling yourself every day, work on creating that new neural pathway to a sentence or phrase or approach of love and grace, and giving yourself that self-confidence. So in this holiday season, give yourself that self-love, whether it is because you didn't make it to the gym, or maybe you did make it to the gym, celebrate that, or making food choices or planning or holiday trips and traveling and work and relationships and all of these things. Give yourself the love and the grace that you would extend to other people. Raise your level of awareness in all aspects. A really good question to ask yourself is, would I tell my best friend or my loved one what I just told myself? And if the answer is no, then step back, think of a better way to approach that situation or that response to a situation, and repeat that positive self-talk. Sometimes out loud helps, I swear. But in the very least, repeat it in your mind to yourself a few times to start creating those neural pathways and breaking that negative self-talk that has such a hold on our lives. I hope this video was helpful and inspirational to you today. I hope that it spoke some love and encouragement in this season. I'll see you next time, friends. Bye.